Good evening, Trump family. Have a good night, everyone, and God bless you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on that notifications bell so you don't miss a thing. Alright, the following is a collection of news from Patriots. Let's get into the news. Huge revelation today in the Durham probe, special counsel trial. We had everything, all our worst fears confirmed today. So what took place? The Federal Bureau of Investigation, according to CNN, and every other publication that covered this story, offered $1 million to verify a dossier purchased by Clinton, and the DNC banned to pay FEC violations and fines. They had to pay fines because they used campaign money to purchase a completely fabricated compilation of nonsense. To get the Federal Bureau of Investigation to begin these probes of Trump. The whole thing was predicated upon not only lies, the most absurd allegations, the baseless. These are so baseless and absurd that not even $1 million could verify even some of these allegations. So Christopher Steele was offered $1 million. He refused to provide any sources or any useful information or any evidence. According to CNN, Fox News Durham probe government says us surveilled Carter Page for more than a year. Politico no. Here we have Fox News Durham probe FBI offered Christopher Steele $1 million to corroborate Trump allegations, and dossier that's $1 million of taxpayer money, but ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at $1 million to verify information. Taxpayer money. Christopher Steele couldn't verify the information. Not only could he not verify the information, but they utilized the dossier to obtain FISA warrants to suit to surveil, and investigate Trump to accuse him. Go James Comey actually took the dossier to Trump and said, "We have this on you." This is the actual dossier completely fabricated and purchased by Trump's direct political rivals, the same people who pontificate about democracy, that was utilized against an incoming president to intimidate him. And these are the people who talk about how Trump is a menace to democracy. They're the menace to democracy, they are the obstacles to us having a democracy free of this. This hysteria, they created a McCarthy. They are the liberal Joseph McCarthys of this generation. They created a mini McCarthy-era Red Scare hysteric as Daria mania. The zeitgeist was, well, like Clinton lost to Trump, like I said she would. In The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, and other publications, I was on CNN and MSNBC telling people that Clinton would lose to Trump. Nobody believed me. And we had record low. Poverty record low, and poverty, we are poverty at close to 15%. And Trump miserably failed foreign policy. Reverse that. I mean, that if Trump was a fantastic president, we had a great economy, we had a great foreign policy, we are now on the brink of possible annihilation. We're talking about the entire planet because of what's taking place in Europe and hundreds of thousands of layoffs on the horizon, unfortunately, because Democrats are very, very bad. They fail miserably at governing. So we have a stock market crashing, inflation surging. We have GDP shrinking, interest rates going up. And it's all because the smartest people in the room said shut down economic activity 2 years ago, which we didn't have to do. And Trump was against that, but every time he's against something, Democrats are for it, and vice versa. Or no, Trump says something like, breathe air and drink water and eat food, Democrats would say no, experts say that's not right. Okay. And this is some big news. This is all by design, folks, and what are the things that by design, of course, is to cut our military and make us weak, easier to be controlled by outside forces. This year, the military effectively cut off some benefits and no longer allowed 40,000 members on National Guard and 22,000 soldiers or the reserves to participate in their military duties because they refused to get the injection. According to authorities from National Guard who spoke with CBS News, 14,000 of the more than 40,000 members of the Guard who have not been injected have said they have no plans to ever obtain it in the future. I'm sure this is not a problem. I'm sure that the Army National Guard losing members at the fastest rate ever because of a policy that does not respect the idea of my body by choice is a concern, seeing all the things that are ramping up overseas and possible according to the warmongers' need for them. And of course, I'm talking about the warmongering Joe Biden and his loose lips and wanton comments that might lead us into a conflict. Comments so egregious and scary. That elitist globalist French President Emmanuel Macron doesn't agree. He said, "We must speak with prudence when commenting on such matters. I've always refused to engage in political fiction, and especially when speaking of nuclear weapons on this issue, we must be very careful. Well, of course, that's a day at Biden and his talk of an Armageddon because of Russia. Fear-mongering is a great way to promote the war-mongering agenda. President Trump has the courage to step up to the Biden/Obama deep state. President Trump has called out the weaponization of the Department of Justice and FBI. He also shared that Biden, by extension the Obama Soros people, quote, is turning America into a political state. That's right where we have. I mean, this breaks my heart that we have January 6 political prisoners being tortured and abused without due process, still no date for a court hearing over essentially a whole bunch of misdemeanor charges. That's where President Trump by say that the Biden/Obama regime is turning America into a police state. And that, yes, the FBI and Justice Department have been weaponized. We'll get back to some more important comments and opinions from President Trump. But let's go to Philadelphia, where Philadelphia Democrat endorsed Dr. Oz, the preferred Senate pick coming out of Pennsylvania. Boy, is there a reckoning happening right now in the Democrat Party. The former deputy mayor of Philadelphia, a Democrat, is endorsing Republican Dr. Oz in the Pennsylvania State Senate race. Ramping crime has been driving issue in 2022. Midterms in Pennsylvania is no exception, especially Philadelphia. Okay. In the midst of battleground of California, the U.S. Senate race has some Democrats crossing party lines to vote for GOP nominee Minute Moss over the current Lieutenant General John Fetterman. Tom Knox, a former deputy mayor of Philadelphia, and a one-time candidate for governor of the Keystone State, endorsed Oz on Friday, citing rising crime in his city, and Democrats feel it or crack down on violent crimes. Wow. On those two of the big issues, that's supposed to be a great one of the pillars of the Democrat Party is, protecting people of color, where there's a lot of black people in cities like Philadelphia, and this rising crime is an epidemic. And that's just the Democrats' failure in cracking down on violent offenders, but their apparent want to defend and excuse and empower these criminals. Knox went on this explain. All right, President Trump is very vocal about what's going on in Alaska. And of course, pointing out who the true enemy is, folks, the enemy of progress, real progress and freedom and liberty, and everything that is good and right about a limited government, which is not limited in the United States, thanks to rhinos and Democrats. We have President Trump slamming Mitch McConnell for funding pro-impeachment, Senator Lisa Murkowski, and her re-election. Now, President Trump has a very important point here, given that money doesn't grow on trees and is a limited resource, and anyone that knows basic economics means that you should allocate your capital, your cash, to endeavors and enterprises that have the best payoff. Well, even when it comes to political capital, Senator Mitch McConnell gets it wrong. Kelly Tshibaka is doing very well in Alaska problem, leading horrendously bad Senator Lisa Murkowski, a Republican. Barely. This is what Trump said in a press release, quote, "The Democrat has no chance." And yet the old broken crow Mitch McConnell, is authorizing $9 million to be spent in order to beat a great Republican Kelly, instead of $9 million that can be used for Blake Masters and other Republicans. This money would be the Democrat opponent. Isn't it ironic? So I don't know how all this got put together. And who is the one who decides these things? But obviously Mitch McConnell is part of that, and where they can put the money toward helping a Republican beat a Democrat. They're putting money in a contest between a Republican and a Republican to make sure that the establishment swap Republican Lisa Murkowski can beat the MAGA Republican seat. It is a civil conflict, if you will, within the Republican Party. President Trump is absolutely right. Mitch McConnell is funding the wrong thing. For obvious reasons, they love everything that's pretty much anti-Trump. And that has to do with what was revealed today in John Durham trial of Igor Shenko. Let's get into this as really fascinating things. So, today, Tuesday, a 16-member jury was selected and opening arguments were set for the afternoon trial of Igor Shenko. If you will recall, the Shenko is a Russian national, charged with 5 counts of making false statements to the FBI in regards to the origins of the Steele dossier. Now, the origins of the Steele dossier, since we're talking about clowns, was actually an FBI-run front for a Clowns in America, a CIA operation. For instance, Peter Strzok is actually CIA, not FBI. If you miss my report, There is no evidence publicly that can be found that Peter Strzok was actually ever assigned to an FBI field office, that he went to Quantico. And he has signed one, at least one which I showed on the show document, perhaps I believe there was more than that. Where he actually signs is his title as Section Chief, which is a CIA title, not an FBI title. Anyway, this is where we get from Sean Longo. He's from Fox News Night. He tweeted this out today. During the questioning from Special Counsel John Durham, Brian Aden, a supervisory counterintelligence analyst with the FBI, revealed the FBI offered Christopher Steele $1 million if he could coordinate allegations in the dossier, but that still could not do so. Okay, let's put aside for why $1 million of our money would be used to pay an actual Russian. Remember, the real collusion with Russia was not with the Trump Organization. It was from Hillary Clinton and her camp. All this playbook, or all this play in the playbook. Accuse are one of the oldest. Accuse your opponent of what you're actually guilty of. The real Russian collusion. The real treasonous, traitorous bad actions came from Hillary Clinton and the FBI. Once again, it truly was a CIA operation via the FBI. That's where the true collusion was. So let's put aside the fact that we were offering him $1 million of corroborate. Why are we doing that? Well, because the FBI was after President Trump and they wanted to have some teeth in this, the Shenko-Steele dossier, so that they could get FISA warrants. Well, Steele could not do so. He could not corroborate the allegations in the dossier even though he was being offered $1 million. But that's okay, because it didn't stop them on and repeatedly admitted under questioning from Durham that the FBI never got corroboration of the information in the Steele dossier, but used it in the initial FISA application and in the 3 subsequent renewals. So there you go. That is what we're getting from day one of the trial of Igor Danchenko. By the special counsel, John Durham. I'm sure we're going to have more reporting on this throughout the week. Just a quick reminder. So we can put all this in perspective, let's not forget that the Shenko is connected to Fiona Hill, who was one of the people involved in the trial in the hoax impeachment in the House of President Trump. I really hope something comes of this John Durham trial investigation, special counsel work, but I am not holding my breath. Okay, what I am holding my breath for and having a little bit more optimism is for what is going to happen in the midterm elections less than a month from now. Let me report on this. Town Hall is reporting that there's absolute panic from the Democratic Party, and they're kind of tightening their purse strings. This is from Town Hall. As Town Hall reported last week, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee whined to the Washington Post that it was unable to compete in several key House districts to defend Democrats or work to unseat GOP incumbents with 1 month to go until the midterms. Now another Democrat spending group, the House Majority PAC, is doing the same, and the latest bad sign for vulnerable Democrats who see their national support dry up in the final stretch of the camp. Ain't the lack of funds for races that have been key to Democrats' 2022 plans comes as Republican groups have expanded the midterm elections map, significantly spending money in a range of places where Democrats didn't plan to need defensive action. So they weren't planning on defensive action. The GOP for once is on the offensive and the Democrats can handle it. And we're getting this also from Axios. Representative Tom O'Halloran, Democratic out of Arizona, told donors last month that the party needs to step up soon to help him win, because President Trump endorsed Ellie Crane. The NRCC has spent over $7 million attack him in the last month, but he's not getting any backup from Democratic allies according to source tracking ad spending. So he's toast, and the Democratic Party isn't coming to his aid and rescue, and they're pulling back. Why? Because they know they're going to lose. It is going to be, I'm optimistically hoping, not just a red wave but a red tsunami. If we could just take the Senate back to even a small majority, so that we can take away the Kamala Harris tiebreaker. That would be a huge solid for us as well. But there's more. Texas Democrat Michelle Viejo, a progressive, running in a majority Hispanic Rio Grande Valley district against Republican Monica de la Cruz, isn't getting any support in her Trump +3 district. House Majority PAC is planning to cancel the scheduled ad reservations for her at the end of the month, according to sources familiar with the group's plan. And then let's go to Wisconsin. Or Democrat Brad Pfaff is running to succeed retiring Representative Ron Kind. He isn't getting any outside backup in his race against Republican Derek Van Orden. House Majority PAC reserved time in the district later this month. But aside from that, the group's plans that intends to cancel those reservations. Could it be that the Democrats see the red wave that is coming down the pike? Thank you for always watching and subscribing to the channel. Every channel. Subscribe is my motivation to work harder. Thank you very much.